for a day.
Dude. All right. Starting a podcast today with Lochlin's underwear being incredibly wet. You just announced that before we started. Lochlin's all wet down there. Yeah. Hot yoga? Is that what you did? You did some hot yoga today? Is that why you're here? Yeah.
That's
you
why
didn't
we're
change your
late.
underwear after hot yoga? Is that
No,
fucking
I
real?
up. I forgot to put an extra pair in the bag.
Uh-huh.
Because normally I wear like a pair of underwear that holds things together a little bit better.
Holds the monster down, Locke? Yeah. Go ahead, advertise it. So anyway, go ahead.
So I didn't have that, so I had to just go with the old Costco split toe.
And then have a crew.
I had to make a stop on the way home, so I just got here.
Yeah,
literally didn't have time to zip the old underwear off and deal with it. So she's going to be a damp show in the nether regions.
You know what I love is if you've ever done that, like you've gone and played hockey when you were younger and like, fuck, I got a new pair of underwear, and you come back and stuff like that. There's a stank that appears around at the 5 to 6 hour mark, right? Where you go to the bathroom, you pull your gear down, maybe you're going to have a deuce, whatever, and you get a waft. You're like, oh, that's the neglected taint I smell.
Compost. It smells like compost that's been sitting in the sun for a while.
And salt and vinegar chips too. Remember that? It's like it smells like salt and vinegar chips. Hey, Scotty, do you remember? Do you know that? You ever get the salt and vinegar chip smell down there? Weekend of camping, maybe you do a little hot yoga. You don't change your underwear. You come back. The wife's like, smells like.
I drink too much.
You got to get some of that spray from Manscaped. You get some of the Manscaped spray. You spritz them right up midday, and
that's
you're good to go.
That's a horse bath. That's what that is.
They sell a spray for down there for your underbaggage?
Yeah, they do. And they even, totally. And they even sell like a cream that you can put on daily, so they just feel kind of all refreshed.
What do you put when you say put on daily? What are you putting it on balls? Daily? You put it on your nuts? Put it on your taint? You put it on the shaft? Where do you put it?
And that's what the spray's for as well.
Yeah,
totally.
you
so
apply,
they have like
you
an
apply
anti-chafing cream.
Liberally to your hand, and then you apply it 50 or 60 times, and it's do it every day. It's great.
Well, hold on. So there is a this is news to me because I actually, unlike Lochlin, I changed my underwear after extreme exercise. I'm a big fan of that.
I didn't want to be late. I already pushed the pod back to 2 so I could go to yoga. And then I was just like, do you want me to gear down right now?
No, I really
do it.
Actually. Yeah. I want to see what happens.
Don't threaten me with a good time, big man.
Let's get Dean's a little pissed at me.
No, since when? Oh, yeah. We had a meeting this afternoon where you made me look like an asshole for no good reason. You just decided that you wanted to. Yeah.
What
That's the problem when you work with your friends. It's like they think you could be friends in like a business setting where money's on the line, where he's like, and he just, every time we have a meeting of any magnitude, Lochlin finds a way to go say something absolutely demeaning to me. And I'm like, here we go. It's just a show to him. That's all it is.
Okay. Without getting into any details, because I know you don't want to have the conversation about what we were discussing.
Not yet.
But we were on a call about involving the podcast and Harvard Broadcasting, the company that I work for,
business
on a business sort of shared thing.
Biznatch.
And the guy on the call knows Dean and asked a question that Dean gets probably on a fairly regular basis from radio people, just knowing the ins and outs of this business. Okay. Now I'm going to explain why I said what I did. Dean went into a very, very articulate explanation as to why he didn't do what Jim was asking. And it was a little long, but it wasn't that long. And I was wildly impressed because I know there is much more to the story than what he was saying. But it was wildly diplomatic, and it was extremely...
You're greasing me now.
No. I'm not greasing you.
Here we
You were very diplomatic, and you didn't jump.
Well, it was a
into
business meeting. I'm in the business of making money, and I'm like, let's be diplomatic. I haven't talked to the guy in fucking 20 years. I'm like, let's talk. Let's have a
I
chat.
said was, when you took a breath, I said, and that's the short version.
How fucking ironic coming from you.
And here's the best part.
And that's
The guy who
why-
I'm on with, and we're doing business. Remember, this is money. This is business. This is time is money. The guy we're on with, he goes, no shit. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you very much, Lochlin, for that. Thank you for selling me out as a fucking mouthpiece. I really appreciate it. Wouldn't stop. He doesn't stop. It's like everything's a show to him. It's like now I know why his wife wanted to kill him when he was here for that Jays game where we went out and had a domestic for 6 hours. It was like, oh, I get it. He does this to you too.
You keep adding an hour onto it.
It's like
every
12-hour
time you mention
domestic dispute.
Yeah. 4 days later, they were still yelling at each other.
Anyway, nice
I
to see
actually
everybody.
know
Even you,
that
Locke.
there is the point I was making was, it's funny coming from me. Yes, that was the short version. Is highly entertaining coming from Locke, and I know Jim appreciates that too, because quite often the 7-minute breaks on my morning show come up in regular meetings.
Yeah.
And then also, I knew he would be entertained by that, because I knew he knew you were holding back a great deal and could have said a lot more about the reason why you didn't do what he was asking you.
Yeah. He asked me if I was going to take a morning show at a certain place here in Toronto. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And he asked why. And I told him why, because I'm not interested in doing that. And I had to get through it fast because I wanted to get to the money portion of the conversation. It was like, that's why I was holding back. It's not holding back. It's like, fuck that stuff. Let's talk about how we get you money and how I get money from you. Let's talk about that.
It doesn't matter to Lochlin because he's a slumlord now. He's got like 15 properties. He's just making in money everywhere. Money is no object.
I really want to hear Dean say the real reasons why he didn't take that job out loud someday. And it wasn't the time and place for it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you after. Anyway, it's nice to see you. Even you, Lachlan Cross, 957 cruisefm.ca. He's here today. Ryan Lindley from the Linz Report. Download, subscribe to the Linz Report. Scotty Trades joins us because we got some Scotty Trades specific stuff to get to today. Not limited to Bitcoin. Yes, we're going to talk about Bitcoin because Bloomberg put their analysis out. You wrote a post on it. But what's crypto going to look like in 23 years? All I saw were orange jumpsuits, but whatever. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. I find that interesting. It's time to kick off a couple of drinks. We're going to have a little chat about alcoholism, as a matter of fact. So that'll be a lot of fun because a guy that I kind of know made a fucking huge announcement in the city. He's a big-time dude, big-time journalist, and I want to get to that coming up in a few minutes. And I also want to talk a little bit about Christmas. No, you're good. You keep going. It's
I
not
have
about
a condition,
you.
though. I just wanted to explain my condition.
Well, here we
it's
go.
a rare condition where my body doesn't produce the alcohol needed to sustain itself.
Alcohol
so I
diabetes.
have to put it in.
That's prescribed,
That's
is it?
Yeah. We're going to talk about Lord of the Rings. Elon Musk, of course, the Twitter 2 files dump. Fucking what a nightmare. Scott, I don't know where you want to start, but I do want to say this before we get going. Want to say hi to Elaine, who is a huge fan of what we do here at DeanBlundell.com. She's always in on the comments section. She's the person that tells everybody to like and subscribe. Now, listen, we take you very seriously because there was a time when not many people listen to the show, watch the show, and people like Elaine have been here the whole time. And Ryan, as I understand it, she's had a bit of a medical issue. Is that correct?
Yeah, I understand she had some issues with her ticker, and everything is good. I just got some news. They're kicking her out of the hospital as we speak, and she's hoping to join the show later today.
Oh,
so she's doing well, and all is good. So good for you, Elaine.
Good. Yeah,
she's from Windsor.
She's a Windsor
area. Yeah, Windsor
Hardy
area.
People down there.
Yeah,
hardy people down there. But get well, Elaine.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you in the comment section a little later on today. Great to see you. Very grateful that you're part of the show, and as with everybody.
I mean, go pound sand, though.
What's that?
Nothing.
Probably.
Alcohol's kicked in.
Who's going to go pound sand, though?
James D. Fiore.
She likes you too, man. She really likes you. But it's fascinating because I was doing some reading this morning. I'm a big fan of wellness, right? Big fan of health, and I'm doing some reading this morning, and I see this little thing about cannabis. Scotty, you'll like this. Young cannabis users drinking less alcohol. New study found that 60% of cannabis users have cut back on alcohol consumption in the last 20 years. Now, I'm an unabashed fan of the cannabis. Huge fan. I use it for a couple of purposes. One, if I go to a party, I take a little vape with me. I might have a couple of sniffs, might not. Just depends on how I feel, if I'm into it, if I'm interested. But generally speaking, I don't. I use it probably 95% of the time to get to sleep. Scotty, you're the same, right? You enjoy the plant. You're a big fan. What about your drinking? Does he cut down on drinking?
100%. Yeah, I have 2 really good bottles of scotch in the cupboard, and I only maybe drank a little bit this year, like from this time last year to now, and they're really good scotches. And I drive by the liquor store all the time. It just doesn't seem to me like I want to feel crummy in the morning, and like I use cannabis on a prescription level as well. I have a script that I just renewed recently, and I use it for anxiety, depression, and you just
got to keep drinking,
insomnia as well. And I just don't like how alcohol made me feel. I felt crummy, felt like it was hurting my inside.
Yeah.
And cannabis always felt like it was helping my inside.
Oh, it does. It does help your inside, and it helps the inside of
this
your brain.
panel is perfectly split, by the way.
And it helped. Yeah, we've got 2 hard drinkers on the right, like unabashed hard drinkers. They're into it right now. Fridays I love because they get a little loose.
I'm sick,
Ryan.
so I'm drinking through it.
Yeah,
it's
you're
a
right.
really
Got
good
a couple
idea.
of days.
Good idea to
appreciate
get us loose. Like
No,
we're
it's
not loose the rest of the week.
Yeah. But Lynn's has been under the weather for a couple of days, so he's enjoying a beverage today. Lochlin's enjoying a beverage. Appreciate it. I love the fact that these guys can do it. I love, no one can tell you where your life is or what you should or shouldn't be doing. But 'tis the season, right? Everybody looks forward to the Christmas booze. Everybody's a ride programs. This is where everybody gets dinged at Christmas time for driving around. Justin Bourne. Do you guys know who Justin Bourne is? He's an analyst on Sportsnet, does a bunch of hockey for him. Yeah, Hockey Night in Canada stuff. He's the son of Bob Bourne, who is a former NHLer, Stanley Cup champion for the New York Islanders. 4-time. I think he won 3 with them, if I'm not mistaken. Saskatchewan people. And I used to have a picture of Bob Bourne that my dad got signed, as a matter of fact, because I lived in Saskatchewan at the time. So I was like, I've always had, and I still have it. So I don't know the guy, but he works where I used to work at the Fan. And he put out a tweet this morning, and I found it fascinating. I fucking loved it, and I want to share it with you guys before we get started because I think it's a good place to start. I've been waiting a long time to share these tweets as I've been eager to share this out loud and clear. Hi, my name is Justin Bourne, and I'm an alcoholic. I'm in a good place. Yeah, it's been a journey. The entire tweet thread is significant. He goes on to say he's always believed authenticity is the best way to connect with people. Felt for a long time he's been hiding both the worst of it during the flight as well. I apologize to those who found me flaky while I struggle, which I'm sure is no small group. Unfortunately, this struggle is my family. It turns out that if you father both an alcoholic and a Stanley Cup winner, your odds of following in his footsteps down one path are far more likely than the other. Sharing this with his permission after 3 stays in treatment, he lives 24 hours a day at a time, like many of us, as Bob Bourne, his dad. So this is news about his dad, Stanley Cup champion, who you haven't heard much from for a very long period of time. Justin's a tremendous journalist. And he's not only a tremendous journalist, he's an incredible young man. And I look forward to meeting him. Lots of great stories about this guy. So he suffered in silence for a long period of time. Like if you knew him and you knew about him prior to him getting onto Sportsnet, creating this incredible career for himself, he just looked like he had it all together. And here he is sharing a story about Stanley Cup father, NHL dad. You'd think he would come with entitlement and all the other stuff. But it doesn't. Comes with the same things that comes with alcoholism for every single person. Says he shares it with his dad. A lot of you can relate. Alcoholism has a devastating effects in family, and I'm so grateful that I was able to get help before I lost everything. Lord knows it was close. I'm grateful for the recovery community, including hockey subset. That, for me, leading to a better place. It has made me reflect on hockey's role where I'm at, both the good and the bad. I knew that any attempt to capture all that in a tweet thread or even an article would be utterly futile. There's not enough room to do it, so I wrote a book. It's my story, a kid in NHL rooms, playing the way up the ranks, wrestling with my dad's lower points, and washing away my future with a bottle. Hope it's relatable. and that makes you want to talk with me and others about how you've been affected by alcoholism. I'll be working with my beloved Renaissance Canada. Renaissance Center is a rehab facility in Toronto. Fantastic recovery house where I spent a month, charitable portion of sales. More on that coming. The book is out mid-February for a reason. On the 16th that month, I will be somehow and possibly 4 years sober. And I just want to give him a big round of applause. And the reason why I want to give him a round of applause, this is his book, by the way. Let's have a look at it. Justin Bourne on alcohol, family, a life, and in hockey. The reason why I want to give him a round of applause.
Okay.
Yeah, you know that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I want to give him a round of applause is that is the most incredible thing anybody can do with their life. Vulnerability. It's the connective tissue that brings us all together where you can say, I failed. And other people around you hide their failures, and they're like, "Oh my God, I don't have to hide today around you. I can be myself. I can just talk to you about this. I can be part of this community of people who suffer, people who struggle, because that's fucking all of us." And I got goosebumps talking about it, and I get goosebumps when I see people admit that they're well. We're going to at some point, but what he did today, and I want to bring this up because it's a point of difference. What he did today on the fan blew my mind. Now, there are no teams when it comes to wellness and health and people getting over addiction. If you're interested in sharing your story so other people can latch onto that story, there are no, I'm on Team You. I don't care what your ideology is. I've offered help to some of the world's worst people when it comes to alcoholism. And by and large, everybody accepts it. Everybody accepts it. The reason why they accept it is the reason why sad people ask for help, is because it's courageous to reach up and say, "Hey, I need a hand here. Can you help me?" And there are people that do that. And
I'll step in here quickly.
Well, hang on. Let me get to the video first. Yeah, let me get to the video first.
I think, let me just say something.
Okay, go
because
ahead.
you do this quite often.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys on the panel will agree with me. You have a way about you that is approachable in this regard. So 100%. I think the reason why people go to you, Dean, because no one comes to talk to me about their alcoholism ever.
Unless they're looking for tips.
On how to stay with it.
Powerade or Gatorade in the morning, Lochlin?
Hey, Lock, I'm struggling right now. Got any advice?
That is true, actually.
I've never had that.
I don't get that call either.
Not once. In my 52 years. So you do have a way about you.
He does.
And I think it's interesting too that you take great steps and pains to sidestep that not criticism, but those accolades. So I'm sorry, I needed to interrupt there because it is.
No, I am great. Thank you.
He reminds me of my wife. My wife collects people as well. That's what I call them, people collectors. They just fucking collect people. Yeah. They just go and find broken people, or the broken people find them, and they collect them like Hummels. It's hilarious, and
I love it though, man.
Yeah,
I love it because like I grew up wanting people around me to be okay, right? Like I grew up wanting people around me to be happy.
Because you weren't at one point, and you know how to make it better. And
well, I knew if I could make other people, it's purely a selfish endeavor. If I can make everybody around me happy, that changes my entire environment, right?
Exactly.
But I want to play this for you.
Sorry, Dean.
No, please.
Really quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what you did with me in a way, because I had given up so much on broadcasting and on radio and all of that. And you letting me come on your podcast, a few years ago to talk about crypto kind of reignited my love for communicating with people about this kind of stuff publicly, where normally I didn't. And so play the clip for the guy, but honestly, brother, I feel like that's what you did for me. And you too, Locke, coming and going public about some of the struggles that I had in radio and in an industry where I felt like I gave my all for so many years.
Shoot up
I
and
feel like
spit
it
out. Like
exactly.
guys,
so I fully agree with what the boys are saying.
I can't help but notice he forgot to thank me for shitting on him every time he talks about crypto. Weird.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll be right here.
Sorry,
We'll find time to give you a little tug.
I've worked that out in therapy.
We'll find time to give you a tug. It might take some time, though.
Yeah.
Play the video.
First of all, and before I get to the video, and Lochlin, who wants to now apparently jerk off Ryan, you're right, Scott.
It's on a podcast later.
You're right.
Tune
Scott,
in at
I am.
11 to our
I'm incredible.
OnlyFans.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love agreeing with everybody
Tune
here.
in
I
now.
am an awesome person. Yeah. So let me play this. This is Justin Bourne. This is on his show with Kipper, Nick Kiprios, who's a lovely
Do I have
individual.
time to get
I know
another
him well.
beer?
Yeah, hammer a beer. Go ahead. But listen, I'm going to play this for you, and I want you to listen to every word of it. This is Justin Bourne in such an eloquent way. Great journalist, son of a former NHLer, self-avowed alcoholic, trying to share his story. And he shares it in such a way that I'm like, I'm on his team. Let's go. But watch this. And if you're sitting there or if you're listening to this on Google, Apple, Spotify, etc., if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, Dean Blundell Show, Dean Blundell TV, quick plug, and you identify with this, I hope that it speaks to you, and I hope you find a little hope in it. This is Justin Bourne talking about his announcement about being an alcoholic and the book that he wrote to help others and living his sobriety as loudly as possible. Let's watch this together.
I feel a little overwhelmed today. Like it's been a lot. And, the amount of people who have some connection to this, like alcoholism in their family. For people who don't know and didn't see the tweets, I am an alcoholic. Coming up this upcoming February, I'll be 4 years sober, and of course, not counting, taking for granted that you get there. But that's about where I am in my sobriety. Went to rehab. Left my family, left my 2.5-year-old at the time to go spend a month and do that. And he's right about how low it has to get and rock bottom. And I think one thing that my message will be, and why one of the reasons that I want to talk about this publicly, is I learned that there is no rock bottom for people. You pick your bottom. I learned that in treatment, where they basically said, this guy's been through that, this woman's been through this. It's not all equal. There's not some rock bottom where you go, it's over, I need to get better. You get to pick your bottom, because there's always a worse bottom out there. And for me, I am what you would call a low bottom alcoholic, in that I kept my wife and my family barely, but I did. And I made the change before I lost that. And, I kept my job barely, was able to hang on to some important things in my life. And, finding out who you are after you make that change is a challenge, and is still a learning process for me, because he's right. He always said when you're drinking, you don't trust someone who doesn't drink. So what am I now in trying to find that? It's so basically, I know this is going to be, I'm opening myself up to hearing people's stories, because, I have a sponsor who says, I laid the toolkit for recovery at your feet, and now it's your job to do that for others. So the support's been overwhelming. Sportsnet's been incredible. Thank you to everyone involved in that. And it's been again, overpowering day. I feel very emotional about it all.
Well, on behalf of Sammy and the whole crew here,
we love you, bud.
We love who you are today, and we're here for you constantly. I know it's an ongoing battle that never really goes away for many, but proud to be a part of your life, a part of this show with you. You've been fantastic, and only great things ahead for you, and very proud of you.
Yeah,
in the short period of time that I've known you. And I can't wait for your book.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, I'm blessed that, to have a show like this and to work with you and to feel that support. That is one of the things, like, hockey culture, like going out and having beers with the boys is one of the things, right? Like, and to be able to go out and play golf and not have it be a thing that I'm not drinking, that is part of it. So the support is everything. And I am someone who has a great support system. I have my wife and my mom and my brother and all that sort of thing. And not everyone has that. So there are places for people who don't have that. And, I went to Renascent just off Spadina and Bloor, downtown Toronto here. And it was a tough month, but man, the support's there. And that's one of the things you learn is, when you're an alcoholic, isolation is like the first thing you look for, right? You want to be alone. You don't want people to depend on you. And you do feel alone, even when you're with people, because they don't really know what you're going through. And so you find through this community of recovery that you're not alone, that there's people who are going through it, and it's people in your office and in your family and people you don't know about. And today, that's part of why I feel overwhelmed, is I want to help everyone who is reaching out and is going through something, and it's going to be meaningful and hard and all that. But yeah, the book, I hope, is just sort of a new beginning where I can be public with my recovery. Renascent, the place says that when you recover loudly, you can contribute to, helping people from suffering quietly. So I will be recovering loudly and here for anyone who wants to reach.
How awesome is that?
Wow.
Good for
Very
him.
cool.
Very
It's
good.
funny.
He looks happy too.
I was trying not to laugh about the. I have a list of people I don't trust.
Yeah.
And those that don't drink is at the
Right
top
up
of
there.
that list.
And I also take umbrage to you don't want people to depend on you. I don't want that any day. I don't want anybody depending on me anyway.
Or you isolate, where he's like, when you're an alcoholic, you isolate. I'm like, I haven't drank for 5 years. I'm still isolating.
Still
I actually quite
isolated.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so much pride in people. I was proud. I don't even know the guy. I was proud of him. I was proud of him because it's one thing to know that you've got a substance abuse issue. Like, it's one thing to know it and to live with it and to live with the shame of it and live with the misery of it and live with the sadness of it. And it's one thing to use substances to deal with psychopathies. It's another thing to tell people about it, right? When they look at you and they're like, you're perfect. You're awesome. You're a journalist. You're a hockey commentator. You're the owner of a network. You've got it. You've got it all.
Yeah.
And you know what? No one does. That's the most amazing part. And that's the connective tissue, that vulnerability. So when a guy like that steps out and he's like, I struggled. I'm like you. I'm like, it not only holds him accountable, right? It sets a brand new tone. Here's the other thing. Everybody around him is going, holy fuck, right? Like, everybody. The second your buddy's like, I don't know if you had a buddy that's been sober, has decided to make a really effective life change. And he's like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. And when you've been doing that all the time with your buddies, whether it's golfing, whether it's, locker rooms after a rec league hockey game, you literally feel like someone died. Like you
mourn the old guy.
Oh, well, it's not the guy. It's the things that the guy used to use to cope. And you're like, it's like a comfort blanket. It's like a thunder blanket for a dog. You're like, that alcohol, I need to put that around me, or that substance, I need to put it around me to feel effective, right? So when you decide that you can't do that anymore, it's like you're on the fucking ledge and you're going, I don't know. I don't even know what I am. I don't know how to go to a party. I don't know how to go to a meal. I don't know how to go to dinner. I don't know how to interact with people unless I've had a couple of drinks. And you know what? That in itself tells such an amazing story. The reorientation of a human being after you've decided to live life on life's terms, that can kill a lot of people. And so to see someone that's 4 years live it loudly, and I'm no stranger to it. I love it. I love the experience. I love all of it. I love the failure of it. I love the connective tissue of talking about that failure. But what's more incredible to me is that when you share that story, how many other people go, I think that's me. Mm-hmm. I think that's me. And how it makes people think. And there's no judgment here. He's not taking your inventory. Like, I'm not taking Scott's inventory, your inventory. You guys know that I support you.
Never
as
have.
Heavy drinking.
Yeah.
No, it's, are you happy or are you not? And that man was unhappy and he did something about it. And it doesn't matter what the substance is, doesn't matter what the psychopathy is, you can do it too. So good kudos, Justin Bourne and Sportsnet and Rogers for having the stones to say, go tell your story.
Talk
so
about
you can
it.
help other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
loved it.
You know what I think is interesting about his story, and do you know the recovery place?
Renaissance? Yeah, I do. I've never been. I didn't go to rehab, so I was fortunate that way.
Renaissance, I think, is on to something, and it's worth mentioning because I have always been very critical of the AA don't tell anybody thing. And listen, this is coming from somebody that has been drinking quite heavily for most of his life, so you would expect me to be critical of AA, but the whole hiding it is bullshit. And I've never agreed with it. And I've actually heard many people that have gone through AA that speak out about the program, not from the perspective of it didn't help or that it didn't provide me with something that made me, give me the tools to fix what I needed to fix, but from the perspective of, I don't get why we can't talk about this. Recover loud, I think, is important. I think that's an important.
Well, a lot of people don't do it though because they're afraid they're going to fucking step back.
What's the stigma?
Right? Like,
it's that stigma, right?
And it's like, hey, if I'm going to live this and I fuck it up, I'm going to be the laughing stock of my family, community, neighbors, all that other shit. So when a guy does it on TV or in a blog or on a podcast publicly, right? When someone does it publicly, man, woman, child, doesn't matter what it is. When you admit that you have failed and you have run out of answers and you had to go get help, so many people will look at that and go, fuck yeah. And that's the perception we have in our heads, is everybody's going to look at me this. But I'm telling you, it's fuel to live that loudly. And I think you're 100% right. I
think everybody has to pick how they share their experience, because not everybody is going to be able to step up to a mic or a camera and have the balls that Justin did.
Yeah.
Right. But I just think that we have to get past the stigma of sharing your mistakes and your struggles and not only that, get past the stigma of sharing your successes as well. We're just as guilty as a society of judging somebody for having success doing something you don't agree with, right?
Yeah, while alcoholism and drug abuse is a physical addiction, it all starts with a mental problem, right? Usually starts in the brain, and
that's why I haven't got any issues, because I'm so mentally strong,
stable. Yeah, no, we're very level, right? So it's fine. But
not much.
That's
going
what
on
I mean.
In
like
that brain. So
that's where you like once they like you notice that you remove those stigma blocks, and AA's original foundation of anonymity starts to kind of like picks away at that core part of their programming, where you don't feel like you need to be hiding in a church basement to tell your problems. You should ask for help. Go and talk to people, talk to your friends.
I've never got that.
Yeah,
well, part of it is,
I understand the development,
lives. Though. Yeah. People have jobs, lives, all that other stuff, and they're trying to get through it with the least amount of embarrassment as possible.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's everybody. But I would share that sentiment that you should talk about it when you're ready to talk about it. No one can take that inventory. No one can tell you that, right? Like nobody can judge you for it. And listen, if you're one of those people, and you're sitting there, and you're listening to this, going, "I've been wondering the same thing, and I'm not happy," and all that other stuff. The most courageous thing you could do, don't listen to anybody else, is ask for help. And there are lots of places. AA.org is a great place to start. Therapy is another great place to start. Talking to your family doctor, talking to someone you love, talking to someone who's been through it. Those are very, very, very important things. And listen, my DMs are always open for this kind of stuff. It's Dean Blundell, and I mean that. And I take that part of my life very seriously. So listen, if you need answers, you got questions, this thing is that Justin's put out today, or even this conversation has brought you to a place of reflection. Hit me up on the slide into my DMs.
Info at deanblundell.com is another good way to get anybody on this show. Just so
absolutely. Speaking of DMs,
I'm not helping anybody quitting drinking.
No, you're
not.
Don't come to us.
Watch.
Yeah, don't come to our Twitters for those.
If anything, I'll come
especially
over
like on a Saturday night.
If you tell me you're quitting drinking, I'll show up at your house to drink the booze you're not going to drink.
If you see me tweeting 40 or 50 things about Elton John and Billy Joel on a Saturday night, I'm not the guy to talk about quitting drinking.
Oh, dude, that's the thing. I think it was last week. It was like Saturday or Sunday. There was like a 400 tweet thread on the lyrics of Elton John, who, by the way, got into it with Elon Musk today. Which brings me to Scotty. Scotty Trades, big Elon Musk guy, huge Elon Musk guy. Don't say you're not. You are.
He's just misunderstood.
Yeah. How do you? Let's just start with a general overview. He's sleeping at it. He's made bedrooms for the remainder of employees at Twitter HQ.
Mm-hmm.
He has apparently he's being sued by like 1,000 former female employees for targeting them for being female employees and firing them. The EU is saying we're probably going to unload your app in the new year. And he is unabashed, fighting with Elton John about misinformation. Yeah, go ahead.
One more. He's that Neuralink.
Yeah,
he's killed like
1,500 animals with the Neuralink.
Really? I had no idea about that.
You didn't?
About to sign up to get a chip in my head. So
you just can't.
It sounds like I dodged a bullet there. No, I mean, I saw kind of what Elton John wrote, and I thought, okay, yeah, Elton, you're announcing that you're leaving Twitter. That's fine. But I don't know that he clarified what misinformation that he cared about. Like, what exactly was it? And if it is misinformation, maybe it needs to be reported. So that's kind of my thought. You don't have to announce that you're leaving. Just See ya. But yeah, I don't see that as like that big of a deal. Stephen King said he's leaving, and he's still kicking around. Like, either leave or don't leave. I think it's pretty.
I had a moment where I was like, should I be leaving? Like,
where are you going to go,
the right
Locke?
thing to do? And then I'm like, if I like, let's say I just announce, that's it. I've had enough. This guy's a dick. I'm leaving Twitter. Would anybody fucking care?
No.
I'm going to Tumblr, but no one's coming over. I'm becoming less relevant. I mean, it's fine for Elton John. He's fine. Elton John is fine. But I'm not fine. I still use Twitter every single day. It's still the best news source that I'm aware of. It's still a great place to promote what I'm doing at Stock Market Mentor, or what I'm doing with my podcast, or whatever. Catch up with what you idiots are up to. I can use Twitter for that. I'm not going to Tumblr. I'm not going to Blogger. I'm not going to Mastodon.
You're not gonna get a
or
Rumble
whatever.
account?
And
No?
Facebook
Still
is
sounds
still
racist.
the worst. So until they come up with something better.
Okay,
I
so
have
hold it. But let me
I have a
just
tip
bring
for
this up.
people. Do
Yeah,
your
go ahead.
thing. I have a tip for people on how to use Twitter. No, you do your thing. Sorry.
Well, my thing's going to take way longer than your tip, so go ahead.
Okay, here's my
Hit me
tip.
with your tip,
If
and then I'll
you
do my.
don't-
Give me the tip. Give me your
And
tip,
he'll give you
and
the
then I'll
whole
give you
thing.
my shaft.
They'll give you the whole
All right,
thing.
Here's the thing.
the balls.
with Twitter.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see something, don't look at it.
Block it.
This is the thing that I've been saying out loud now for, like, if you don't like Elon Musk, just don't fucking follow
Don't look
him.
at him.
Like, I stay in my notifications, and I go to the Explore. I check news out on Twitter. I mean, I literally have to be tagged on something to see it. I'm sorry. I follow people, but I don't follow that thread. I don't look at it. Why? Just for random bullshit? Like, if somebody tells me about something that's out there, I'll go, and I'm curious, I'll go search it because I want to watch the video or something. I don't just randomly pick up Twitter and go, I use it as a source of communication with people. So if Scotty saw something funny, a meme, and he wanted to tag me in it, which he does occasionally, it'll show up in my notifications. Stay in your notifications. Then you're just seeing the stuff that people, and then you're not.
Which is why
ruining your day.
you don't care. That's why, like, it's funny when you always talk about your Twitter, you always say, "Oh, follow me, I'll follow you back." You follow you back, but he's not going to read your shit. Just so you guys know.
No.
Not unless you tag them, and I think that's fair when you follow 20,000 people. You're not going to follow.
Follow
It's
30.
just chaos at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He follows like 1 billion people.
Everybody
Honest
that
to
follows Lochlin, he follows back, or everybody
That's
that
the
follows.
dumbest
Yeah.
shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, what are you even looking at on
No
your
wonder you
timeline?
hate
I don't
your
look at
Twitter.
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
look
I
at
don't know,
it.
but
I look
I
at-
don't know why everybody's yelling at me. I'm like, because you're following 1 billion people, dude.
Who cares? Why?
Well, because
you make
it
the rules?
generates anger. Yes, I do. It generates anger. Like when you
Why
call
are
me
you
like,
angry?
"You fucking loser on Twitter, just fucking make me a fucking loser." And I'm like, you follow 35,000
I
people.
don't get angry at people.
Every
I don't,
single
'cause I
time-
don't see their shit.
Every single time I see somebody in our DM, or not in our DMs, but in our notifications for the company that says, "Dean, you're a pedo groomer," I go and click on their profile, followed by Lachlan Cross.
Always. Or Andy Lee.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing in the world.
You're fucking so clueless on there. It's the best. But I love
It's
that you
my
have an
favorite.
opinion.
It's my favorite.
Well, I want to get to Twitter files. So, last week, Elon was like, we're going to release the Twitter files. I start laughing when I talk about it. So he taps this guy named Matt Taibbi, who is like a whitewashed former reporter that's gone like opportunist reporter. He's neither right nor left. He just goes where the money is. Same with Barry Weiss, who did today's Twitter files number 2 thread.
Ooh.
But I want to take you through some of it. So let me just kind of lay this out. Scotty, tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Twitter files is Elon basically grabbing a whole bunch of old internal documents,
Lots of emails.
and-
Yeah.
emails, DMs, force feeding them to one of 3 reporters, Matt Taibbi, Abigail Shire, who's like an anti-trans activist, which is fucking weird, and Barry Weiss, who's like a Substack promoter, terrible journalist, who decided to go from like journalism to Substack because she hates Palestinian people. Like, it's just fucking wild. So she does. It's true. She's super anti-Palestinian. Anyway, long story short, Elon gives them access to a bunch of files or hand delivers them a password where they can go in the back end and they can have a look at everything. So they've got access. By the way, Matt Taibbi, Abigail Shire, and Barry Weiss have access to all of our DMs. That should make you feel really good about this, because to go through these things, they had to get access. So she does this tweet thread yesterday, which I found absolutely fucking hilarious. And this is the start of the thread. So the first thread that Matt Taibbi did, widely panned as just a bunch of bullshit that we already knew. And so it was so bad that Elon Musk, after the first one, fired the general counselor at Twitter, blamed him for being an FBI plant, and said that's why it failed. The next one will be the best. Well, this is the next one. Barry Weiss outlines this entire thing in this thread that was not just panned yesterday by legitimate news outlets and real reporters. What she was talking about and what she put out there in this thread were internal deliberations about what to do with alt-right COVID denying accounts, alt-right hate accounts like Charlie Kirk, like Dan Bonino. I've got them here. These are the screenshots. You can see them. There's Charlie Kirk. He's an insurrectionist, anti-trans, anti-abortion, evangelical extremist. Barry paints him as a victim of free speech, which is really hate speech. Too. Massive. It's like a 12 head on an app that doesn't allow free speech, hate speech with multiple account violations. You can see it here. These are the tags that they put it. And again, you should be concerned because Barry Weiss and her crew have access to the back end of Twitter, which is a huge invasion of privacy. But fuck, let's just deal with that in a second. The other person, Dan Bonino, again, multiple account violations. He's been blacklisted. He is verified, but he's blacklisted because all he was a fire hose of election denying information. So you get the point here. Same thing with Libs of TikTok, who's this woman behind the account who's just been screaming, no one could see my stuff. She's got 1.6 million followers. People can see her shit. And they are all complaining today that they were shadow banned or restricted. Well, guess what? That's the business of Twitter. They are a private entity. They are owned lock, stock, and Tommyhawk by the people that are in the building prior to Elon and the stock market. Well, guess what? They have internal deliberations and they send emails back and forth. And here's the other fucking incredible part of this. It's unbelievable. Do you remember the tweet that Elon put out a while ago where he said Twitter is going to ban reach, demonetize and deboost, basically shadow ban certain accounts because he doesn't believe in hate speech? Do you remember that?
Yep.
This whole thread was about Twitter doing that for the prior 5 years and doing it to deliberate to get this information out of their system, hate speech out of their system. And Elon is 3 weeks, like a week in, he was like, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And what he's doing is he's hustling all this information out prior to him being there. And he's letting a bunch of fucking right-wing reporters report on it. Meanwhile, he says he's going to do the same thing. And he is today. So, Scott, I would ask you, what the fuck is his problem? Like, what is this? Is this
he's trying to look legitimate to investors, I think. I think he's trying to just really do what he can to look as legitimate as possible. That look, he's opening up the files. Yeah. See, guys, because I mean, as much as you hate the right wingers, there's a lot of money on that side that possibly could have invested in Twitter or maybe will want to advertise on Twitter. So I think, anything that Elon Musk does, you got to think it's for the survival of Twitter or to get more money into the business. That's what I think.
I think that virtue signaling tweet that he put out about the demonetization and everything else, I think that was geared towards advertisers to try and retain some of the ones, because he put that out before he lost the shitload of those title sponsors that he had. And I think that was kind of throwing a life raft out to be like, hey guys, wait, don't go. I promise I'm not going to let everybody just loose with the N-word and call everybody bad names. He's operating on the fly, and it's fascinating to watch somebody like flop on the deck like a fish out of water. It's kind of like one of my favorite things to watch.
Well, it's happening publicly where a lot of his other failures or failure to start, like what was going on with Tesla in the early days, that was all behind closed doors. The kind of iterations of SpaceX getting to where they are now, that was all behind closed doors. This is happening publicly on a public platform. Sorry, Locke, I know you wanted to say something.
No. the problem I have with this is we're kind of caught in this vortex of all the criticism being thrown or railed against Elon Musk is based on the fact that we don't like him. And I keep trying to suggest that maybe we should take the we don't like Elon Musk out of the conversation. The same thing is happening right now with the Brittany Griner thing, because we talked about that this week quite a bit on the Locker Room. And I keep getting hammered by guys that are trying to make this political. And I keep going, well, you're a piece of shit. This isn't because Trump, I didn't agree with her being sent home because Trump disliked it. I agreed with her being sent home because I'm a fucking human being. And this woman was going to spend 9 years in a work camp for getting caught with hash. Like, it's not a balanced fucking representation of what should have happened to this woman.
Humanity thing.
Like, it's a humanity thing. Like, I can't. Like,
geopolitically, it's a terrible trade, but if you just take all that shit out, this is a human for a human swap, right? That's all it is.
And this woman needs to go home to her family. It's not because I'm like Biden. Fuck off. Like, it drives me crazy that people do that. And we're doing the same thing in the Elon Musk situation. He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. Is he doing it to himself? Take that out of it. Take that out of it. Are the decisions that he is making, are they right or wrong based? What's that?
Are the decisions he's making because he's a piece of shit?
No. Are they right or wrong based on the merit of the decisions? Can we have that conversation? Because that doesn't seem to be happening. I don't see anybody having that conversation, including us, because we get tied up in this. Elon Musk is a piece of shit, and he's the leader of the incels, and da 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 da. Look what he did now. Like,
yeah. Well, Scotty, you wanted to chime in, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that's why I like him. Like, yes, I don't like everything that he does, but I like certain aspects of Elon Musk, and yes, he's not perfect. Yes, he has more money than everyone, and should he do different things with that money? Sure, but I still look at everything that happens, and I try and look at it objectively, and that's one of the things that makes me a successful trader, is I can look at things objectively, look at the pros, look at the cons, and be like, okay, this is kind of my decision. So I agree with Locke in that way, but it is easy because it's so public. Everything he's doing is public. Every decision he's making is public, and so every public decision, kind of like we're talking about with alcoholism, you fear being judged. And a lot of people are afraid to make their decisions public because of that judgment. Elon's not. He's got the money already. And so he can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter. He still has the money. He still has Twitter. He is going to make, in my opinion, that platform, this platform that we're on right now, I think he's going to make it a success one way or another. Just like he did with Tesla. Hate it, like it or hate it. I mean, they got GM to start doing electric cars again. They started electric cars again in this world. And they are starting to, with SpaceX, to send people to Mars. I mean, my whole life, none of that was happening. I kept thinking, like, where's our space exploration? It wasn't happening. It was, the shuttle goes up there, they work on the space station, and they come down. And as a child, I always was like, well, why aren't we, like, going back to the moon, checking out things? Like, let's figure this all out. No. We're going to do a telescope.
Because we never went.
We'll send you some real nice pictures.
Because
Elon started all that.
Be made for that.
Yeah, we never went.
I'll tell you.
That's right.
Elon got all that going. And so I try and look at the good as well as, what? Sometimes he's kind of a dick. Yeah. But you know what? So am I sometimes. So
no, but he's like an unstoppable dick right now. Like he is. Like he's tweeting more than a 12-year-old girl. Like he won't stop. And when I have a theory. Can I share my theory with you guys? I'd love to. I
have one too.
Okay,
but go ahead. Yeah, no, you first.
Do you want to Moshambo for who goes first with the theory? Too. 1, 2, 3. I win. Okay, so here's the deal. This is my theory. Something's coming. I don't know what it is. But my theory is that this is all a whole bunch of chaos he's throwing out there. It's just pure chaos. Let's just get as much chaos as we can out there because something's coming. Something's coming for him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's financial. I don't know if it's legal. I don't know if it's sexual. I don't know if it's intergovernmental. I don't know if it's espionage, but he knows something's coming. And
this is all distraction.
If you believe, no, I'm serious. If you believe and have been watching the tea leaves in Congress and Senate and watching people go, we're going to look into that fella. Something's coming. They're busy putting insurrectionists in jail. And, the DOJ is suggesting charges for, the president and a few other people. So this is back burner shit. But my spidey senses, and I want to take the temperature of the room. Scotty, I want to start with you. Mm-hmm. And then we'll go to Rye for his theory. But does that kind of make some sense? Because, I remember when he started talking about wanting to buy Twitter. Remember that? All of a sudden, we found out about the horse for a blowjob story.
Yeah.
You remember that?
It's like a cover, like a smoke
was it a
screen.
hand job?
Yeah.
I thought it was a hand job.
I think it was a gun,
which is a very expensive hand job. No,
very. It depends.
You know
on
how expensive horses are.
Well, quarter horse, Arabian quarter horse is very expensive. Scotty, what do you think?
I think a big fat recession is coming, and he and his companies are going to lose a lot of money going forward.
I think so.
That's what I think. And so I think he is doubling down right now on something that takes him away from that reality. And he actually tweeted out today, look at the Federal Reserve in the U.S. raises interest rates again, which they're expected to do next week, by the way. Bank of Canada did it this week. If they do that, then they're going to send the U.S. into a big recession. And guess what? People are going to stop buying cars, and he's going to become more poor. And Twitter's value is probably going to drop even more. I just saw someone say he paid $40 billion for something that's worth half. It's probably worth even half of that half. And so I think he sees a lot of his wealth potentially going away. And so he is working his butt off to make his, what some may argue is his worst decision less of a sinking ship. So that's kind of my thought. What do you think, Ryan?
I was thinking it's actually, I'm going to dovetail on yours a little bit, because I think he does recognize that we're heading directly towards a recession, and that's inevitable. Every single financial pro that you can put your trust into says the same thing right now. And if there's anything, excuse me, certain things are recession proof or recession resistant, and those are vices. And that used to just be alcohol, it used to be gambling, it used to be, and then your staples. Well, your staples, right? Haircuts, porno. Your porno, your strip clubs. But now one of those vices is social media. Yeah. And that's one of the things that will not be affected as hard by a recession. We're in the middle of a horrible time financially worldwide. This is a global problem with inflation right now.
Yeah.
Do you guys see any issues out when you're shopping? Do you see things? Yeah. And I know we're going to talk about this probably a little bit later about online shopping, but we actually went to a mall for the first time in months this week, and that's why I'm fucking sick, I swear to God. And we went into this mall, and it was just like it was pre-COVID. And it's like, you'd think that we were if I believe Pierre Poilievre right now, I would think we were all fucking living in cardboard boxes, but we're not. So I think social media is one of those things that doesn't get affected by recession. So he's doubling down on this investment, because this is literally the biggest investment he has now, I think. And I think he needs to bring as much attention, negative or positive. Press is press, and he wants all eyes on him, and he's getting it.
And he's given all of his.
We're just as bad.
What's that, Scott?
We're just as bad for doing it.
I was just going to say, and the more engagement, the better. If everyone is reading, Dean, you are reading every one of his tweets, and you are talking about every one of his tweets.
No, I'm not.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah, we are.
100%. I bet Dean has notifications at the top. Look at your name. Your name is Elon Lover 69. I mean, come on, stop faking it.
It's pretty crazy. Like what I was saying earlier about my prediction or my analysis here was, think about us. What if we were in his shoes, Dean? If you owned Twitter, you would be just as big of a fucking asshole on it as he is, and you know it.
5 years ago, I would have been for sure. I would have lorded that power over everyone.
You would.
I would have made
every
up all
single
kinds
evangelical
of
fuck at this point. Yeah, they would be in your crosshairs right now.
Lochlin Cross.
I have yet to understand why he's been doing the things he's been doing. It's kind of like the Pete Davidson conversation. I finally just succumbed to the fact, because I keep going back and forth with the Pete Davidson thing, where like somebody will say something, I go, oh, well, that makes a little bit of sense. I finally decided, when I've come to terms with the fact that, listen, he's dating these women and we just need to accept it as one of the wonders of the world. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. There's no way to explain it, right? It's the ninth wonder of the world. Just stop trying to stop sending me articles or comments from people that explain his, like, he's a nice guy. Fuck off. It's aliens got involved, and I've had the same problem with Elon.
Yeah,
because there's times where I'm like, okay. Like, for instance, the shadow banning thing that he announced late yesterday, where he was like, I'm going to let everybody know if you're shadow banned. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I want to know. Like, why?
Do you think he's telling the truth, dude? Are you fucking kidding me? That guy just lies like a fucking fire hose. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking about it, because I'm like, dude, he just gave listen, he gave 3 podunk reporters all of our private information so that he could curate a narrative about something that he said he's going to do. And even yesterday when he's like, I'm going to tell everybody why they're shadow banned, and that's going to be something I'm doing. I'm like, well, dude, that makes that whole fucking thing with the Twitter files irrelevant, which is why it's so performative, which is why I think something's going to happen to the guy. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Dean, let me finish.
Go ahead.
You just destroyed my fucking confidence.
I'm sorry.
And any amount of faith I had in the man.
Yep.
Here's the problem I have with what's happening is I haven't actually been able to come up with an idea. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I think, Dean, you're onto something. Something's coming. This is the chaos theory. Like, I'm going to keep you so busy worried about all this weird shit, and I didn't even need to buy this stupid fucking company. And I'm going to move in there. I'm going to give everybody bedrooms, and I'm going to do weird shit. And you know what? It just makes sense. He's creating chaos. So many massive public figures in our lives right now have adopted this strategy that it makes total sense. It's the first time anybody has said anything out loud.
It's the Trump shit
that has made sense to me about why this is all happening.
Buddy, you're welcome. I'm here to help. That's what I do. I bring clarity to life for people. That's what I do.
But I need help in trusting people. So if he says things like, I'm going to share this, don't destroy it right out of the gates on me.
You want to you want to trust Elon Musk?
I want to know why I'm shadow banned. And I need to think that he's going to do the right thing.
He won't.
Tell me
Never.
Why.
Do you want to know what the deal is with him? I really believe that something bad is going to happen. And I'm not saying to him, but I think something terrible is coming for Elon Musk. And I think people are going to get a quick reset about the kind of guy that he is. And I think it's going to be in either just before or after. You think so? I don't know.
There's a lot of things there.
A lot of things going on here.
Did you guys watch the documentary on Ghislaine?
No. I'm gonna. Oh
my God, you have to watch it. The funniest thing is they do still shots of her and Jeffrey Epstein with all these famous people, and it's like, oh my God, you sit there watching it, and they just like shot of a picture, like.
I know.
And the whole time you're watching it, going, oh my God, there's so many douchebags out there in the world we live in.
Well, is it though? Because I think of that as, I'm sure a lot of them were involved on both sides of the political fence, if we're going to get partisan about it. But it's not like he was out with like, hi, I'm Jeffrey Epstein, and I like to have sex with children. Want to be my friend? Take a picture. I think a lot of people probably didn't know. They knew he was a financier. He was a money guy.
Oh, come on, Linz.
I don't think everybody
going to the island.
I don't think everybody knew. The ones that went to the island, they probably knew. But I'm talking about like if he's at a dinner, if he's at some gala in New York City, and he's there, and somebody snaps a picture with him. I don't think every single person that came into contact with Jeffrey Epstein became a pedophile. You know what I mean?
It's not like he committed the crime and then everyone took their pictures with him. You know, it's not like Roger Stone. You know, Roger Stone committed the crime and then Theo's like, hey, I like you. Let's get a photo in Times Square.
That's it.
You know?
But honestly, Clinton had a suite on that island. I mean,
well, there you go.
spent a
That tells you
weekend
everything
there.
you need to know.
Yeah.
he was on that plane 30 fucking plus times or something.
Exactly.
So-
So I'm not denying it. I'm just saying I just don't think every single person was a part of it. That's all.
I would agree. Scotty, quick question.
Still funny watching
Is
the
this
pictures
true?
come up.
Is Tesla
is.
down to $75 a share today? Is that
No,
is
I
that
think it's
true?
around 180, 190, 178 right now.
All right. Is this
Well,
true?
that's because
the comment
I
section?
said,
they
China
split it?
is falling. Yeah, China's really slowing down, and that's one of the reasons that things are happening with China right now. You know, you saw all those
Tesla?
Chinese protests and whatnot,
Yeah.
and a lot of these factories are having to shut down, and we saw that happen with Apple factories
Apple's
and whatever.
trying to get out.
Yeah, well, I know they're trying to move, but Foxconn essentially, from what I understand, kind of lobbied the Chinese government to say, "Look, you gotta help us here, because otherwise we're going to lose all this money and all these workers." And so, yeah, Tesla's slowing down. It's a recession. You know, it's been a recession in China for a while. They are trying to stimulate their economy, but you know, it's bad right now. So yes,
Can I
Yeah.
just give anybody from China that has like pulls the strings of the financial
Here we go.
situation in China
Yeah.
some advice?
Please.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Maybe
We needed this.
Yeah.
Maybe stop sending like a bunch of Gestapo to the factories and beating everybody with sticks.
The beatings will continue
Maybe pay
until
them
morale
more than-
improves.
Pay them more than $2 a day too. That might help. Yeah.
It's just an idea.
Just
we
a
can
suggestion.
workshop it from there.
Maybe
Stop
bringing
Stop beating your
manufacturing.
employees.
Did you see the video where
You
they
work
were
80
welding
hours a
doors
week.
shut?
What's that?
Sorry, did
Scotty?
you see the videos where they were welding doors shut
I
with
know.
people? So, someone in this building has COVID, so we're
COVID.
going to weld
Yep.
this bar across the door. Like, my goodness, you know, of course.
Well,
That's
and
Walking
tyranny,
Dead.
by the way.
Protest.
In case you're a Canadian who's been running around with a "fuck Trudeau" stick around the back of their Subaru, not looking at Lochlin Cross, that is tyranny, by the way.
It was just a week.
I only had it on my car
I mean, the
for a
fact
week.
that they
Why
had
did it light
protest
up?
signs that were blank, Dean, I
Yeah.
think that says everything you need to know. We want to protest, but we are so afraid to protest. We're just going to hold up a piece of paper that's
Yeah.
blank.
I
You
know.
know, that's heavy.
That speaks 1,000 words, though.
Did you
Big time.
real quick aside? Did you guys? Speaking of which, did you guys see the? Did you guys see in Canada they've discovered like 3 or 4 Chinese police stations?
Again.
Yes.
Yeah, every
see that?
every
What
week I keep
is
hearing
this?
more.
Yeah.
Three
Chinese
of them
police
are in
stations.
Hamilton.
I've never seen their squad cars. I live here and I've never seen one, but apparently they're here. They were
No,
supposed
they
to
don't
be.
have squad cars. They just drive Toyota Corollas.
They were supposed. That's racist. They were supposed to
No.
just like set up to help people get driver's licenses and stuff. It was almost like an embassy for like a citizen embassy kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the cloak, right? But apparently, shit, you get in trouble with
Global
those guys,
news.
man. Nobody sees
Yeah.
you.
Now,
Ever
Global
again.
News, Sam Cooper from Global News done a great job. Dude's been in hiding for like 2 years because he's been writing about this shit. He's like, I'll write about it, but I'm not telling you where I live. I'm like,
Yeah.
good call, Sam. So he put out this thing where he's like, there's a Chinese police station in Toronto. And then all of a sudden there's like 10 Chinese police stations operating illegally in Canada, like arresting Chinese nationals on Canadian soil and then doing whatever, sending them back, reorientating them and stuff like that. It's fucking wild.
It's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
nuts.
that Sinclair company, that the federal government hired a company called Sinclair to secure all of the police communications, and it turns out that company is owned by a Chinese company.
They just cut
Ooh.
ties, I think. Yeah.
Well,
They
not
just
just
cut
owned
ties.
by a Chinese company, owned by a state-owned Chinese company.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
we're
a
giving
mess.
them access to all of our police videos and information. Smart. Really.
Remember when
really
Huawei was a big sponsor of Hockey Night in Canada?
That didn't last long, eh?
Still-
You
No,
Mine's still
still have
Ryan!
the Huawei.
It's
you
still
are a
working.
spy.
Oh my
It's still
god!
working.
Total spy.
Xi Jinping is actually listening to this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Let's
a listener's a
turn your
listener,
phone off.
baby.
Yeah, that's right.
As long as he clicks the ads.
Let's bring in a guest. He is the president of Cantorque in one of our partners here, deanblundell.com. Talk about, he's been over to China a few times, I'd imagine. Hey, Colin? Colin Livingstone, ladies and gentlemen, Cantorque.com. Hey, Colin, how are you?
Have you been to China, Colin?
Have you been to China?
Probably 10, 12 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you step out of line? Tell anybody to go fuck themselves? Nope.
Absolutely not. I mean, that's kind of a recurring theme of, what's going on with, some of these, extraditions and things like that. I mean, I'm pretty respectful. I mean, not to Locke. I mean, he can get bent, but
I like this guy.
You got to understand when you're traveling to another country, you're playing by their rules. You can't go to China and expect to act like you're in Canada. You can't go to Qatar and expect like you're in the middle of the United States. And you can't bring drugs into Russia. Like this is not really complicated stuff. This is pretty simple. And I've never ever had an issue in China whatsoever. I've been to Beijing, I don't know, countless times, Shanghai, Jinan, Qufu. I've been, all over the place, and the people have always been wonderful. Like,
the problem is with a situation like the Brittany Griner thing. She fucked up.
She brought drugs into a foreign country.
Right? No one is going to deny that.
Yeah.
But does her mistake equate to 9 years in a work camp in Siberia? They were playing politics. And then they forced the hand of the United States to make a completely unbalanced trade. Listen, there are so many situations right now where I'm like, get out, stop traveling. Like, if you're in Russia playing hockey right now, go home, pack your shit, and fucking come home, because you should not be there. I am sorry, because if you make any fucking spit where you're not supposed to spit or say something, you're going to get hauled into a fucking back room. And then we're going to be sending diplomats over there to deal and spend millions of dollars to.
And they're going to look in your anus first, too, by the way, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get what you're saying, but the problem is the unbalanced nature of it.
But it's unbalanced for us. It's not unbalanced for them.
Bingo.
If they imposed an artificially high penalty because she was an American, that's different. If that was the penalty for
she totally did. They totally did. And she's gay. And that's the problem I have with it. And then the other problem I have with it is that people have made this political. And that's why I'm so pissed off about this, is because when you go on your radio show or on a podcast, or you make a comment in a room full of people and you say, I'm glad she's home, and you fucking love Biden. Fuck off. Because that's not what this is about. It's a human rights issue. And we have issues around the world that should be highlighted and should be used as examples of why we need change. And that's one of them. Listen, I understand there's a war in the Ukraine.
So what should the penalty have been, though, for smuggling drugs into a foreign country?
I actually know the answer to that. According to Russian law, the penalty for bringing in under a gram of cannabis or marijuana or illegal drugs is 15 days in lockup in Russia. 15 days, 15.
Not 9 years in a fucking work camp.
Yeah.
Wait a second, 15 like metric days or 15 imperial days? Because that maybe is where there was an issue with conversion.
That is true. Have you ever tried to plug in a plug over in Europe? It's a fucking disaster.
Okay.
Right?
All the time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No. It's supposed to be 15 days. She's supposed to get 15 days in there. But to Colin's
point,
trace
amounts like in a fucking vape is
cartridge.
What it was.
Yeah, she had under a gram.
Cartridge.
Actually, it was quite a bit. But actually under an ounce. So that's 28 grams. It's quite a bit. But it doesn't matter. The bottom line is this. Case in point, Qatar, right? Everybody losing their minds over the One Love armbands, because Qatar is very, very Muslim. watching people try to wear the One Love LGBTQ armbands in support of the LGBTQ community.
Getting arrested.
And everybody's like, what? Getting arrested for it's fucking what?
Yeah.
But what we don't understand, and it's awful. It's awful. But to Colin's point, Locke, like, we know a different way to live. They do not. They do not understand this. They don't understand freedom of choice. They don't understand the freedom of expression because no one's allowed to express themselves over there. And that is the way it goes over there. And there's something to be said, as awful as it is, for when you go there to respect those laws, right? Mm-hmm. My problem is with the Chinese police stations that are popping up all over Canada is that they're not respecting the laws here, right?
Exactly.
They're like, it's almost the complete reversal of respect. Total reversal of respect for both countries and the culture in the country, right? And that's the fucking problem that I have. But to Colin's point, man, you can't step out of line in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, any of those fucking countries at all, or you will be treated according to the laws of those countries, and we don't understand them because they're Western civilization. Scott, you got to go, right?
I do have to take off here in just a minute. I do want to point out, anytime you're traveling, I get stressed about carrying hand sanitizer in a suitcase that's being checked. And so I just want to point out, you're bringing hash?
Yeah. It's a good point. It is a good point, isn't it? Have these people not seen Locked Up Abroad ever? It's been on for years. Don't fuck around when you're traveling. You're taking your own freedom in your own hand.
I stress about shampoo and toothpaste. Oh God, is the toothpaste in my carry-on? I'm going to Las Vegas.
Is it under 100
going
mil?
To Russia with hash.
It's so true, dude. There's that real life application.
But should we lock her up for 9 years? Should we lock her up for 9 years?
Oh, of course not.
No, that's geopolitics right now. That's Russian politics trying to grab America by the you-know-what. That's what they're trying to do.
Sanctions. This is a retaliation to sanctions.
100%.
Absolutely.
If everyone was fine, it would be 15 days.
I'm no prison swap expert. Might come as a shock to you.
No
guys.
shit.
Yeah, so I'm out of my depth when it comes to, the geopolitical ramifications of when you trade a 6'10" female power forward for the merchant of death, right?
Yeah.
On its face, you'd go, that's a terrible trade Joe Biden made. And by the way, what's he making trades in the WNBA for anyway? He's the president. Just wants to get in there. But on its face, but when you take it down to the brass tacks, that's a human that has been co-opted by another country. Yeah. That is another human who gives a shit about this guy, Victor Booth. I could care less. I believe he was the subject of that Nicolas Cage movie, Lord of War.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Lord of War.
That's correct. Yeah.
That movie is based on
exactly.
his fucking
That's
life.
who it is.
Yeah, it's incredible. But that was her mistake. She went in, as Scotty pointed out, it's amazing how we can dance around it. And then Scott comes in, he's like, she took drugs into a foreign country, you guys.
So true.
Fuck.
You're so right. But then why are you okay with it? Because you're a fan of Trump. That's the
weird part. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing
right.
that I'm struggling with right now, because I've had about 15 people attack me because I said I'm glad she's home. I'm glad she's back with her fucking family. And
no, it's because she's a black lesbian. That's why.
Dick. And I'm like, what?
Well, you live in Alberta.
Where did that come from?
It's Alberta.
What is that? Where are you? Where's your mindset? What happened to you? Why are you such a piece of shit that you're mad that this woman came home?
The text line.
Why are you so mad that this woman came home?
Yeah, no shit.
It's because, Lochlin, it's because everyone's politics are now their personality. That's the world we live in. Everyone's politics is now their personality. And so if you disagree with me on this topic, I know exactly who you are. You're one of the incels. You're one of the woke mob. You know what I mean?
That's because you're a good person.
You're a normal guy.
Yeah. And you're talking about like you went to air this morning over the past few days in the middle of Alberta, and you started talking about this trade that on its face is lopsided, which is point because you come in here all the time and you tell me about how much you when we talk to you about Albertans, you're like, it's not that bad here, very liberal. I talk to Colin, who lives in Alberta, or I talk to Scotty, who lives in Alberta. They give me a totally different take. I think you're whitewashing Alberta.
Yeah, I'm on the West End, though, so it's a little different over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it is pocketed. It's very pocketed over there. I was
Well,
lucky
case
enough
in
to
point.
stay in a very normal one.
Absolute
Case in
true
point.
story though. The last time I was in China,
Yeah.
my supplier partner, I have one, we make all of our stuff in Edmonton, but we get one product that's made over there. And once I finished with them, I was on my way to UAE for a trade show, and my supplier gave me 2 bottles of their private branded rice wine. And I know that alcohol is not legal in UAE. You can get it, but you've got to buy it either at the airport through duty free, or you can order drinks in certain hotels and certain pubs. I had to take that and pour it out. I wanted to keep the bottles because they were private branded, but I poured out these 2 bottles of rice wine that they gave me because I didn't want to take a chance in another jurisdiction where I knew I'd be breaking the law. Like, it was pretty simple. I mean, I'm also a Nexus holder. If I have 1 ounce more than what's allowed, I tell them. And, every time I've been honest with the border services agent where I have an extra bottle and say, like, I know I have 2 or I know I have 3 and blah, blah, blah. And I have to go stand in the cashier line and wait. And the guy looked at me the one time I came back from Indianapolis. I had these special bottles of vodka from Fuzzy's Vodka for the Indy 500. And he's like, what do you have? I said, I've got 3 bottles. He's like, that's it? I said, yeah. He's like, get the fuck out of here. And in those words, I said, are you sure? He's like, go away. Okay. And I walked out.
Same happened with me when I was in the Dominican once and came back with some like novelty rum. And when I got to customs, we had like 4 bottles of it in our bag, and I knew I was over, so I declared it right away. I'm like, I have this, but it's not labeled. It's not like commercial rum. But I still, if you assess a duty to it, I'll pay it. And they got 3 supervisors involved, all looking at each other, going, I don't know how to do this. Just go. But if I would have hit it, I guarantee you they would have had a glove on and lubing it up, and they would have been checking my bum for things.
Yeah,
for sure.
I lie about what I have in my duty free just so I can have someone look in my anus. Actually,
that's nice.
Sometimes
they're lonely, and I'm not going to.
Like, what are you bringing back? I'm like, I'm not telling you. You might want to have a look though. It's bad.
Go take a look. Maybe there's something in there.
Dean Blundell, yes, we're gonna have to look in your anus. Oh no,
again?
Yeah,
darn. Is John here?
Can you and then just start playing some Barry White on your phone?
Is John here? He has the most delicate hands.
Smooth jazz before we start.
Do these lights have to be this bright?
Yeah. Can you dim the lights and maybe just pour a glass of wine? I have some in my bag that you're going to search.
Thank God I did.
We got Bluetooth. I can put Kenny G on.
You have Bluetooth?
Yeah. But I want to deal with Alberta real quick before we let you guys go. Scotty, you got to go, or can you stick around for a bit?
I do got to go. Sorry, I'm getting winter tires today. It's a big day.
You're the best. Go get your winter tires. Love you.
Good to see you, Scotty.
Buy the dip, bro.
I don't know how to leave.
Locke will teach you. He's pretty quick.
Okay. So, reason why I wanted to have Colin on today is because I said this earlier. Lochlin gives us a rosy perspective of Alberta, but that's where all the heat's coming from. He really likes Danielle Smith. I'm going to play this for you. She rammed
through
the
leader
this.
We need.
She's a fucking idiot. She rammed through this bill called Bill 1. Now, Danielle Smith's the premier of Alberta. She's an idiot.
She made some adjustments to it.
No, she made no adjustments. So Alberta is effectively on its way to being a full-on dictatorship run by the United Conservative Party, which at its very core is theocratic, full of losers like her. And it's also illegal what she's doing. Let me play this for you. So just so you know, Canada is a sovereign country, sovereign nation, made up of a confederation, right? Okay. That's it. That's all. This is her in your legislature, by the way, Colin. By the way, Lochlin. This is your premier. Talking about how there's no real government in Canada and Ontario. Alberta's basically its own country. Why not, right? Let's watch it together.
Like Ottawa is a national government. The way our country works is that we are a federation of sovereign, independent jurisdictions. They are one of those signatories to the Constitution.
No. Everything Danielle Smith said there is a lie.
Wrong.
Everything. Yeah. And it starts and let me just take Cole's notes. 1931, little thing called the Statute of Westminster. Go look it up. That's where it started. And when we decided to become a nation, right, England, who was the boss of Canada at the time, was like, listen, we're going to give you sovereign status, but you got to come up with a confederate nation, right? Correct. So each province decided to become a province. Beautiful little thing that they did. And those are called confederations. In not one legal document in the world is a province a sovereign jurisdiction.
No,
not one. Not in Canada, not in North America, not anywhere in the world. They are confederate provinces, part of the confederation, which is the root word. That is why we are a country.
Under one umbrella, correct.
Under one umbrella of Canada, which is a sovereign nation. Now, your thoughts, Colin, on not just that, but the fact that your province is literally leading the way in trying to separate from the rest of this country as an Albertan and proud Canadian. Your thoughts, and then we'll go to Lochlin.
Okay, so number one, Ottawa is not a national government. Ottawa is a city.
Thank you.
Okay, it's a municipality. It does not control all of Canada. It just happens to be the home.
That's not what she was talking about, though.
Do we know what she was talking about? Maybe she was talking about the municipality of Ottawa, who's really fighting through their LRT system right now, and they don't know how to build a train. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on here right now, I used to be really, really, really interested in politics. I remember meeting Ralph Klein, and it was honestly one of the highlights of my life because he was the first politician in my lifetime that campaigned on a thing and then did the thing that he campaigned on. And
did you have to drive him home?
To this day, we'll buy you a bus ticket home. I remember that, like yesterday. But he did exactly what he said. Ralph
was wasted the whole time.
Was not shy to have a drink. I see Ryan's got a drink. I see Locke's
cheers to him.
This is juice here. This is agave juice, but it's still juice from the blue agave plant.
Tequila.
Call it what you want. I call it juice.
All right.
But Ralph did teachers. I date a teacher, and she and her ilk hate him. I'm going to a teacher Christmas party tonight, and they will still probably be talking about Ralph Klein. But that being said, I was always prone to be a conservative. I own a business. I believe that my money is better in my pocket than it is in the hands of the government, because I can spend it more efficiently than a government can. Yeah. That's just my underlying belief. Whatever conservatism is no longer.
No,
I can't identify with a party. I can't you take a look at what's going on with the Republican Party in the US, and it's embarrassing. It is despicable.
That shit crazy.
If you want to be a fiscal conservative, cool. You want to talk about the benefit of making businesses fiscally stable, which means that they'll be able to hire more people. Cool. That's a really good argument. But whatever is happening here in Alberta, I don't understand it. I don't whatever is going on here. I don't even want to listen to it because it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
I think you're the majority of people in Alberta. I think you are too. Lochlin likes to have fun with it, but your perspective, because if I'm you guys, right, we're all the same. Politics doesn't run our lives. We don't look at them and we don't identify with them. We're good people.
We don't wear them on our shirts.
Right, exactly. We respect each other's views. We respect each other's politics. We listen to each other. We take it in. We give back. We have a conversation, marketplace of ideas. But the majority of people that I talk to from Alberta, whether it's, our buddy Max Fawcett or any other reporters that we talk to that live out there, are not just scared. They're fucking embarrassed. Are you embarrassed too, or are you to the point where you're hey, this embarrassment's fucking unbelievable content right now? This is awesome.
It's killing my interest, which is probably what the intended
strategy
is that more people tune out. But the idea is I saw a post the other day that said, just because you were conceived in the back of the Jeep doesn't make you a Cherokee.
Yeah.
My goodness, all the things that we're trying, all these buzzwords and all the, the platitudes, just be who you are, campaign on what you believe, and let the people vote. We haven't had an election to nominate this person. I know that, I shouldn't say I know. I'm under the impression that, our previous premier, Ed Stelmach, when you put a mic in front of his face, he sounded like a bit of an idiot. But when you got to talk to Ed away from the microphone, he was super thoughtful, very, very intelligent, and had a really good perspective of what was needed. I'm hoping you can't say that that's the case with Premier Smith, because she was a radio person, as Dean likes to say, a fucking failed radio person.
Yeah.
But obviously is not adverse to media, obviously is not adverse
Knows
to
how to speak to the public. Yeah.
Should know how to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. It doesn't make a lot of sense how a person can
I
go
have a
from
bit of a theory on it.
Talk to me.
So
you
Shiver. So Berta. Yeah, there's Berta talk happening here. This is great.
She's
River, bud. Let's go for a rip here, Lock.
fucking
I think-
Fucking
what's
rights.
happening a little bit in the conservative side of politics right now is they're taking a cue from the success in the States from Trump, in that when she says something out loud, she doesn't care if you don't agree with it. She is throwing it out there, and she might not even necessarily believe it. She's throwing it out there because she knows there's a certain percentage of the population that's going to gravitate towards it. And that the losses of the people that are like looking at it going, you're nuts, are not significant enough to impact the people that she's going after, because the conservative parties in the democratic world that we live in have had great success in doing exactly what they've done to Colin. They've completely disenfranchised and completely made him rethink his entire existence. He's not represented. He has nobody to vote for. And he's just like, fuck this. I'm not getting involved in this at all. So they're doing it on purpose. And even if they say something that's crazy, it's still going to be believed by the hardcore supporters of her. And all she needs is just to keep them engaged. Because if we do the math and we figure out that maybe 30, 35, 40% of Albertans are going to vote, I just need to get a majority of that, the crazies. The same thing happens on the other side of the equation. If you break down what's happened in Edmonton, we look at our city council and they make decisions and it drives people crazy. People go nuts. And I keep saying out loud, the reason why they keep making these decisions is because they know their voters. They know that the guy that votes doesn't own a business. He rides a bike. He wears hemp clothing. And that's the only fucking person they care about. And it's like 15% of the population of Edmonton that actually votes. So we have to keep pandering to them. So we're going to tell them in the next budget, we're going to spend another $100 million on bike lanes. And everybody goes, what the fuck are you doing? But the problem is the people that are going, what the fuck are you doing? Don't vote. They've stopped voting. They've thrown in the towel years ago. And
yeah, it's apathy.
We have left the entire political spectrum on the left and the right across the country in most democracies, not just Canada, in most democracies, cater entirely to the extreme. And they don't fucking care. They don't care. Danielle Smith does not care that you think that this sovereignty thing is crazy. She doesn't give two flying shits.
I don't like that about her.
Because the people that are going to vote for her fucking love it.
And they'll vote.
Meat.
And that's the thing. Those people will vote.
Meat.
The people that don't vote, and it's funny, it's a statistic that we've always found an anomaly in politics, is the educated people who just kind of, it's not that bad. It's not going to be that bad. And they don't go vote, but those grassroots fed hippies that you're talking about that vote in municipal politics, it's very, very, it's like a 180 when it comes to provincial and federal to municipal politics. You're absolutely right. Those people will vote in a muni vote. In federal or provincial, they don't vote. That's why we see Doug Ford as a premier in Ontario. That's why you see, well, Danielle Smith, it's a different story because she was kind of put in there and they jigged the system to make sure she was in there.
But
she's not going anywhere. She's not going to be there in May.
He wasn't crazy enough.
That's it. And she's not going to be there in May. That's the whole point.
Hang on.
No, she won't.
Does that not bother both of you Albertans?
Yes.
Like, does the idea that this
what a waste of time,
shit crazy fuck job who eats ivermectin on Triscuits, who thinks that you give yourself stage 4 cancer, like literally, who doesn't even understand the Constitution or Confederation, is like gonna tell you guys how it's gonna work from here on in? Does that not bother you, Colin?
She's gonna win.
I have no objection to Triscuits at all, man. They're fucking delicious.
And the apple flavor is apparently not offensive. So I don't know.
I don't know. I feel the same way.
She's going to give Nutley a run for her money.
I don't think
so. The problem is, though, like the flip side of what you guys are talking about is that it's also flipped to the extreme that the second someone that you disagree with speaks, you have to instantly criticize them. Now, I'm not saying what she's saying is right, but what she's saying isn't all wrong either. Just like, even what Trump said, and I despise that man down to my toenails, but not everything he said was wrong. The way he said it was wrong, but I can listen to every individual thing and make my own decision on, whether things are right or wrong. Where I think if we take, and I don't care. I like I said, I date a teacher who by definition would be more of an NDP person here. I have, family that are teachers. They're, my mother-in-law is, a conservative fiscally. She's very socialist other ways. If we sit down and actually talk about what our beliefs are and what we hold true, we're going to agree on 85% of what we want. But we've also been tricked and we've also been convinced that we're enemies within this. So if you say you're a conservative, you have to hate the NDP. If you're a liberal, then you're have to be diametrically opposed to the rest. It's like, let's fucking burn this shit down, figure out what we actually believe as a nation, and then work towards that. We're not going to, if we disagree on 15%, we can sit and disagree on 15%. I don't believe that we're as far away as everyone's leading us to believe. Like, there's some cuckoo fucking theories going on in the country right now, but it's only because we've been divided so much. I travel the country. We race in Ontario, we race in Quebec, we race in Newfoundland. I travel to BC all the time. We're in Saskatchewan. I see a bunch of stuff. I mean, you guys keep shitting on Alberta, but I'll tell you what, you come to the paddock of a NASCAR race in Ontario, my neck looks pale compared to the rest of those guys.
Yeah,
you guys have a bunch of red flag.
I've said it a lot multiple times when they thought that the entire COVID convoy was all Albertans. I'm like, you guys have fucking
all the organizers were, just so you know. That's a fact.
Yeah, because
you're right though.
That's happening.
That math makes sense what you're saying about that 15% where we agree on 85. And that's where the fringes lie, is in the 10 to 15% of both the left and the right. The centrists, and
they're deciding who rules us.
Well, and you know why? It's because the centrists don't. It's called apathy. It's called political apathy, and they don't fucking do anything about it. Like, and answer this honestly, the three of you. Answer it fucking honestly. In the last provincial and federal elections, did you go vote?
I did.
Did you go vote in both of those elections? Both?
And municipal, federal, provincial.
I didn't vote municipal.
I actually didn't vote municipally because I was out of the country and I didn't.
But you scream about your fucking bike lanes, and that's the most you complain about.
I just moved to Edmonton. I used to live in Stony Plain, west of the city. So
he's talking about Lochlin.
I was making fun of. I was making fun of Lochlin. You're
right to make fun of me. I went to the last provincial the last municipal election I went to was a couple of years ago in St. Albert, and I tried to vote. There was 700 names on the ballot. I didn't know any of them. So I voted mayor, and then I walked out of there. And that was one of the few. I was in I voted twice in municipal elections in St. Albert.
It doesn't matter.
And I felt guilty about it, but I've always voted federally and I've always voted provincially.
So you're a minority. You are in the minority. We are all in the minority on this panel. Just so you guys are aware, we are very astute and we're very plugged into politics because it's what we do for what we do here.
Wow.
But the general person that you know that is a centrist that says, you know what, same as Colin, I'm the same as you. Fiscally conservative, socially liberal. That's how I think we should live our life.
Never say liberal.
Don't give away, you know what? Don't give away the farm, but we should help everybody that needs it. That's kind of where I'm at. And the problem is when you talk to other people like us, they're like, "Did you vote in the last one?" Nah, I was fucking busy. I was shopping that day. I had to work. I didn't bother stopping. Yeah. And then they're the first ones to get on Twitter and scream about Doug Ford being the premier of Ontario right now, or the ones that are screaming about Danielle Smith or Jason Kenney prior to that. This is the problem.
40% of the people in Ontario decided who's leading provincially. Less than,
and they didn't
40%.
Because he still didn't get a majority.
32.
Which is the best part. 18%.
He won with 18%
of the voting of the voting public voted for him.
That's
18%.
Awful.
That's how voting works, and people don't realize that's how voting works. What you say on Twitter is not a fucking vote. You have to actually go to the ballot box and put the fucking thing in the box, or else it doesn't matter. You can scream and yell or hold polls and read Angus Reid all you want and think that this one's popular, this one's.
Hold on.
Means
what about
nothing.
What about my radio show? Does that count?
Maybe a little in Alberta.
Boy, it got real quiet, Locke.
Maybe a
You know
little.
what I'm gonna do a lot more research now that I live in Edmonton, because these donkeys are literally, they have a plan for the next 4 years to increase taxes in Edmonton by 3.9% every year. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. And
how are we going to repair those LRT columns without an increase to the taxes?
Yeah, how are you gonna increase bike lanes in a city that's
they're gonna spend
10 months of the year?
How are you gonna have wheelchair accessible ceilings for people to sleep in the subway station?
The funicular, dude. Like seriously, give them a
$306
$306
million.
You know
in the next
we're
5 years on bike lanes.
That's not
$306
even
million.
your money. Big deal. You complain like an old man about the bike lanes, dude.
He is an old
Get
man.
a bike.
You're
You're a scooter guy now. You don't think the scooter
Your balls already sweat and stink. Get on a bike.
And you got to change your fucking whole song now because you're a bike lane guy.
Yep.
Fucking enjoy it. They built them for you. What are you going to say when they catch you driving on one of those bike lanes with a cool bike helmet that says bike lanes are for winners? Remember that? I mean, your last 10 years of fucking complaining about bike lanes, and there's you on a scooter using a fucking bike lane every day to get to work from now on in, because that's what you have to do to get to work.
I'm getting that scooter as well that goes 94 kilometers an hour.
I know you are.
I'm totally
bring it out to the racetrack. We'll play.
Dude, they have the one because I have to get the one that because the weight, because I'm 230, right? And they're all like 220. Don't put anybody on this that's over 220. So the one, like I said to the wife, well, I should probably get the one that will cover 230, 240 after Christmas here, probably. And she's like, well, this is one of the only ones you can get on Amazon that'll cover your fat ass. And I look at it and I'm like, that one goes 94K an hour. I'm totally fucking getting that one.
At least hit 60 on that, right? So
but where are you going to scoot?
The fucking bike lanes, Colin.
I moved, Colin.
Yeah, I know. You're on the south side. Yeah, I know about where you're at.
Anyway, I'm 6-minute drive from work with no lights.
Yeah.
And there are bike lanes and scooter lanes that I can take from here to work. So I'm just going to slap a helmet on at 4 o'clock in the morning
on a scooter going 95 in a fucking bike lane.
Can you imagine complaining about the traffic at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning going to your radio show? Like, who are you?
I'll be able to go faster. I'll be able to get to work faster on the scooter than I can in my Subaru.
Where? In the bike lane.
Everybody. Have you you've heard his show, Ryan, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he complained
we listen every day.
perpetually about the drive from Saint Albert to Cruz.
I'm not there anymore.
No, I get it, but
dude, you would, if you had to live in Toronto, if you had to live in the GTA.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Would kill yourself within about a week and a half. Like,
he'd be in the news.
9 o'clock
he would be in the
night,
news.
I met my son. My son goes to college.
How is that possible?
It's just awesome here. My son goes to college downtown, and last night he's like, "Dad, you got to come to my my art exhibit." And I'm like, "No problem. I'll come to your art exhibit." 8 o'clock at night. I leave at 7. It's 24 kilometers from my house to the college art exhibit. An hour and 10 minutes later, I arrived.
Yep.
I stayed there till 9. It took me an hour and 25 minutes to get home.
Get home?
Yeah.
It is bumper to bumper until midnight in this city, from 6 a.m. to midnight. Don't care where you are. Yep. So when I hear you complain, I'm like, this guy would last about 4 minutes here before he got out of his car at 100 and tried to beat up some guy on a motorcycle.
It's going to be a 5-minute scooter ride for me to work. I'm going to be going scootering. I'm scootering everywhere.
Good.
Scooter lives
I
matter.
discovered a thing though when I was there. I've got this like really good secret for the GTA. It's called the 407. Like, open up your wallet, spend $6 and get there.
I wish it was $6.
I don't know.
It's it's like $80 to take the 407. It's fucking
from
crazy.
my house to Dean's house because we take the 407 anytime we go to visit Dean, because the other way it's a fucking nightmare. It's $50 one way.
Yeah, it's worth
and I live an hour and a half away from Dean.
Yeah,
it's a $50 fucking drive.
We race at Delaware. We race, outside of Hamilton all the time. We drive from most sports. I take the 407. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
if it's on a Friday of a long weekend, I take the train. Like,
no, this is a nightmare, dude. It's a fucking nightmare out here. Anyway, let's end on that nightmare. It's good to see everybody today. Colin Livingstone, Cantorque.com. They make incredible, rugged, hardworking torque wrenches, fasteners, and looseners. Listen, this is who they are. They make rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool experts. As your point, Canadian made. Colin, what are you working on now? Something for a nuclear power plant, maybe? Something for a mining shaft in Zimbabwe? What do you got?
The word shaft.
We've actually got a really cool application we're working on for a metal recycler here in Edmonton. Right now, okay, so you think I'm not lying. Alex is calling me right now.
Tagliani.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
We were going to have him on the show last time. Yeah.
We tried to, but he didn't show up. I actually bumped him for you guys. Metal recycler here in town that has this really weird application where they have round nuts that take four pins to loosen the nuts at 9,000 foot-pounds. We're making a thing for him to get that done.
Huh.
It doesn't matter. We and if we can't figure it out, we'll tell him.
That's awesome. So just custom made torque solutions, right?
I mean, our tools are dumb. They just go one way or the other, which I guess makes us like friendly, pride friendly, because we can go both ways. It's just a matter of how we interface and we get it done. We don't have a preference. Loose and
tight. I don't think that's how the inclusion works, but good for you.
No, way to work it in though. That's really good.
I'm not going to share my whole personal life, but I can tell you that I'm quite
friend of the community. Yes,
I have no issue whatsoever.
Yes,
well, I have issues.
No,
lots of issues, but not
with that.
No, not at all.
The tightening and loosening
of balls, round balls, and nuts.
Lochlin has 9,000-pound round balls too.
Cantorque.com for more information. Thanks, brother. Always great to have you on. Not just a partner, but a great friend. And we'll talk next time you're on about F1 because I haven't seen season 2 of Drive to Survive.
Oh, we managed to dodge that conversation.
Wait till you get to season 3 and 4. Yeah, well, if Locke knows anything, it's racing.
Oh, dude, I told him you're on the show today, and he's like, "Oh, fuck, he's going to talk about
racing. We're going
to
talk about fucking racing." That's what I said.
I want to. Dude, I want to talk about racing. Max Verstappen. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the title that he won. I want to talk about how boring F1 is and how they make it look unboring. I'm going to pee my pants
if I don't go.
Okay, go piss your pants.
See you guys.
Thanks to all of you. That is Cantorque.com. My friend Colin Livingstone. That was Lochlin Cross 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. That is Ryan Lindley from the Lynn's Report. Download, subscribe to Lynn's Report as well, but go to Cantorque.com. Give Colin a follow. That's his Twitter handle right there, @CL_87. Master Bolter. Good to see you, brother.
I like it.
Talk to you soon. There he is. Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon, too. That's Ryan Lindley, Lynn's Report. Just a bunch of guys talking about dumb stuff. That's what we do. Anyway, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, you can subscribe to everything new at DeanBlundell.com. You can go to DeanBlundell.com, sign up for our newsletter. You can also go to YouTube, Dean Blundell Show. Hit smash, subscribe, like, whatever you do there. Just be nice. It'd be great. We're nice to you. You're nice to us. Everybody wins. Same thing with Twitch, Dean Blundell TV on Twitch, Dean Blundell Show on Twitter, and wherever you get your fine podcasts, including Google, Apple, Spotify, etc. And don't forget to sign up for a newsletter, DeanBlundell.com as well. You can get on the inside. Send you some stuff. That's what we do. But we won't do anything crazy. Won't spam you. We don't spam anybody. We'd appreciate it if you signed up for a newsletter. Just head to DeanBlundell.com. Right on the front page there. And thanks to Cantorque, we've already given them a nice big handy. So we want to thank our friends at kivlaw.ca as well. The best defense attorneys in Southern Ontario. If you're looking for someone to represent you, hold your hand through a process, explain things to you. Listen, the legal system's a mess. Sometimes you get good lawyers. Sometimes you get bad lawyers. Sometimes you're getting kettled. Sometimes you've been accused of things you didn't think you did. And sometimes you did some stuff you wish you hadn't. You need the best people to walk you through these legal things. And the best person I know in the industry when it comes to defense law, kivlaw.ca. Robert at kivlaw.ca. That is his email address. Reach out to him. Tell him I said hi. Tell him what you're going through. And he's going to get back to you right away. And he's going to help you walk through that problem. He's going to hold your hand. Super comforting. And you want someone to be able to help you when you're up against it. Kivlaw.ca does that every single time. Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. I love Ed's Gitch. GITCH3. That is your promo code. Gitch are the name of his luxury branded underwear. Super soft, super breathable. Best underwear you'll ever buy. Guaranteed. I want to give you a free pair. Ed and I want to give you a free pair. So order 3 or more. Gitch Christmas. He'll send them to you like 2 days. Boom. Bang, bang, bang. You'll just turn them around. Send you these luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front, super breathable. Absolutely everyday wear. You can wear them when you go play hockey. You should probably change them after hockey, but put on another pair, a dry pair, because they're supportive, they're breathable, and they're like a push-up bra for your stuff, fellas. You're welcome. That's what Ed told me to tell you. You're welcome. Go to edsfineimports.com. Shop online today. Gitch3 is your promo code. He'll send you a free pair of underwear. He's got clothing for men and boys. Good deal. And, yeah, that's it for us. Have a great day. See you on Monday. I'm out of here. Like last year, as they say. I'm out of here like last year. No, just out of here today. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to you soon.